What's up, YouTube land? Ziino Gaming back with episode number 4 now of my team journey here today on F1 2020. We are at the brand new Vietnam Grand Prix, so I'm excited for this one here today as it's a brand new track to try out for the very first time in my career mode and on this game. So I was looking forward to this track in real life. Unfortunately, that can't happen, but when it comes to the game, we can obviously test that out as we now, before the Grand Prix starts, just have some updates. We're going to update here on the chassis to help improve that department and also get this aerodynamic bit fixed for the hopefully to come in the next few Grand Prix. The development system works a little bit differently this year. It takes longer for it to develop, and it's like a set date. It doesn't exactly come at the next Grand Prix. Like 2 weeks isn't 2 Grand Prix. It's like a set date, like it is on the calendar, which I think is a nice touch to the game. It gives it that realism factor, which is pretty cool to see as we head out now for the Vietnam circuit here in qualifying. And this is just a pit lane exit I'm showing here, just to show you what the new pit lane is like, and it's going to be very interesting to see how that all works out. Could be a few accidents there, interesting mergers for sure, as this is our first lap now in Q1 and we're on the medium tyre here, so just going around and setting our first flying lap in Q1, and on the medium tyre it's very difficult to get a good lap in, so we're going to come back out on the soft tyres. As you can see, we're last place, but we're gaining a lot of time here on the soft tyres. They have a lot more grip over the course of a lap, and I like this last corner because it's if you get it wrong, you're going to be straight into that outside walls. We leave it plenty of space on this time round, and we go into 14th place, so we're into Q2 for the first time this year, so that's really exciting to move into Q2 for our first time. So we showed a good pace there, and hopefully we can we haven't just stuck in, we're in 14th, so this looks promising, and we only had the one soft tyre run because we had a medium tyres to use, so yeah, hopefully we can extrapolate that same pace in Q2. So here we go as we now set our first flying lap here, and this last sector is really nice when you get it right and it has a good flow to it. So we come into this second to last corner, turn 22 I believe, and now final corner, turn 23 on the curb and all the way up to the wall and come across the line, and a pretty good lap time I'd say. And now I'm going to show you the full track though, what the new Vietnam track looks like. So as you come into turn 1 here, looking for the 100-meter board to brake, back down the first gear, clip the inside curb, use up to 4th gear, use as much track as you can, but back down the 3rd gear, get the car turned in nice and early, and I felt use a lot of curb on the inside there, and try to get on the throttle as early as possible on the run to this next little roundabout section. Once again, braking at the 100-meter board, back down the 2nd gear, and then a short shift to 3rd, staying as wide as possible, trying to open up the entry for the long straight on the power as early as you can get it now, and the run down this very, very long straight. It's going to be a great passing opportunity as the DRS comes about halfway through. Open that up, it sweeps to the right, and then you're looking for the 100-meter board once again, and then you brake for this hairpin corner, 1st gear, and short shifting to limit the traction to get the best traction. And when the curb starts, that's when you're braking for this right-hander. And now coming into this Escher section, this bit all flat, you've got to have the confidence with the car. And then a little lift here, back to 6th gear, and then back to 5th gear for this left-hander. And now this right-hander is trying to set up for the left-hander as much as you can, get to the right side. Missed that apex a little bit, but that's okay, as we now, as brave as you dare with the walls, and come across the line for what was a really good lap, and that has put us in P5 here. So 5th place in Q2, and we are into Q3. So not only did we get into Q2 for the first time, we are into Q3. So that's the story here for us so far this weekend. I'm really enjoying this Vietnam track, and as we now move to our Q3 lap, we only got the one run as we only got the one fresh set of tyres, so we'll just see what we can do here as we're coming into the last sector now. And once again, just got to be very brave with the car and yourself, have the confidence here to really throw the car in, and you got to be really accurate to not hit those walls, and it's just such a thrill when you get this right. Probably a little bit eager and turn too early into that last right-hander as we come through the last corner now in 5th gear. A little tap in the inside wall there, so didn't get that perfect as we come across the line, and it's 9th place, so not as good as our Q2 lap, but it's definitely still 9th place is higher than where I expected to be on the grid here. So really enjoying this track so far. That's my impression of it. I like the track. I think that last sector is brilliant. It's such a challenge, but it's a rewarding challenge when you get it right.
It's time to remind ourselves of our top 3: Hamilton, Bottas and Sebastian Vettel. With qualifying complete, all that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
Thanks for that, Crofty. Just didn't realise I was going to speak that. But yeah, I enjoy the challenge of the track. And those roundabout sections are tricky, but I enjoy those corners as well. They're not too bad. But anyway, let's get into the race.
Southeast Asia once more as we usher in a new era and get ready to go racing here in Vietnam. A lap of Hanoi circuit then, 3.4 miles around the Vietnamese capital. A number of the 23 corners take their inspiration from other great circuits, hopefully creating plenty of passing opportunities. Anthony Davidson also joins me in the commentary box today. So, let's briefly discuss Lewis Hamilton. That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs. So it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, with Sebastian Vettel starting alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Leclerc, Verstappen, Alexander Albon, and Ricciardo, Sainz, the captain, Perez, and Pierre Gasly. Hamilton, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Norris, Daniel Kvyat, and Stroll, Ocon, Raikkonen, Antonio Giovinazzi, and Kevin Magnussen, Hubert, Grosjean, Russell, and Nicholas Latifi. And with lights out just moments away.
So, welcome here to the Vietnam Grand Prix, guys. Today it's going to be a 2-stop strategy. That's how it looks to be with the soft and medium tyre. So, yeah, that's what we're going to go with. Soft, medium, soft, which looks like a good way to go. That's what we've been given, so we'll go with that. But yeah, I do enjoy this track. I think it's a good challenge. I enjoy the challenge of street tracks. The only street track I don't like is Monaco. But anyway, the Revs arrives here in Vietnam for the first ever Grand Prix, and it's go for the Vietnamese Grand Prix. And from 9th place, we get a pretty decent start there as we move now to the outside, and we have Ricciardo on the inside. Now we're trying to go look at the 2 Red Bulls. So we've got one past Red Bull. That's Max Verstappen we've passed. As we run a little bit off the track though with a bit of understeer, and Verstappen's back through into turn 3 and 4 as we now come onto the long straight for the first time. So we put the car into overtake mode, and can we do anything about Max Verstappen ahead? I don't think we can, so we will settle for 6th place, which is a really, really good start here for us today. Didn't expect to be battling for these kind of points, but you know, it's exactly what we want to be doing, as we want to be a team, not just making up the numbers. But we've got a great run here on Max Verstappen with the overtake mode. We turn it off, because you don't want to drain all your battery on the opening lap. But Verstappen is going defensive, so we're going to go to the outside, see if we're going to outbrake him into this hairpin. And he's going up the inside of his teammate Albon though, who left the door open a little bit. And Verstappen can't make that move, and neither can we around the outside, as we lose the back end a little bit there. As now it's just time to settle into this Grand Prix and settle into the rhythm here of the Vietnamese Grand Prix. And this last sector, once again, you can see the time now we're losing to the Red Bulls, as they have got the superior car here compared to us, and we're not. That's not our fight today. I think the best we can do is 6th place today, or actually not 6th place, because the Hamilton had a grid penalty. So 7th place is what we're looking for today, to be the best of the rest, and that probably would be the best result for us today. As we get up on the curb there a little bit, and we haven't got the best run on the run now to the next chicane, and Daniel Ricciardo breezes past with DRS. We go to the inside of the fend, but nothing we could do about that there. Ricciardo had a lot of straight line speed there in that Renault engine, so yeah, not much we could do about that. As we try to slipstream him back with the DRS here on the main straight. He's pulled a huge gap on us, and now we're under pressure from Carlos Sainz, who breezes past us. So our Mercedes engine not faring too well here on the Vietnam straight. So I'm running quite high aero for that 3rd sector, and maybe that was the wrong way to go on the setup of the car with the high aero setup. It might have been suited a lot more to the qualifying pace than the race pace, as we have a yellow flag in the background. Not sure who that's for at this stage, as Carlos Sainz has a shocking run through there, almost spun into the barrier there, and now we have an opportunity to get back past him into 7th position as we open the DRS. We're in overtake mode, we're not really gaining, as it's Roman Grosjean out the race, and a virtual safety car is deployed. So I slow down, as that ruined any chance of getting past, but Sergio Perez has passed us under yellow flags here. That was really frustrating in this moment, because he was alongside me, but he was nowhere near past me, but he decided to pass me anyway. So I thought I'd see if I can pass him back, but it wouldn't let me, so I just had to follow behind him. And now the virtual safety car is ending here, and now Perez is in front. So we've got Ricciardo, Sainz and Perez, who have all passed us. So we're back to 9th place now, where we started in this Grand Prix, and we're not under pressure from behind. So we'll just see if we can follow these 4, and I am thinking about a little bit of an undercut here, and then that is a huge moment on the rear end out of turn 12, I believe. So yeah, that was not ideal, and these tyres are pretty much done. You can see how much I'm struggling, so I decided to come straight into the pit lane for a new set of tyres to hopefully get an undercut to make some time back up. I lost a couple of seconds in those last few corners alone, so tyres were definitely finished. And actually it was turn 13, I'm just looking now, as that little kink is turn 12. So just very new track, very unfamiliar with all the turn numbers. So yeah, that right-hander is turn 13, but new set of medium tyres, and we'll see what we can do with these now. As we come out of this brand new pit lane, and you can see we're going to come out right behind the 2 Williams merging together. It's a bit awkward, but we slot in between. And now we've got George Russell ahead, and we're going to make quick work of him, hopefully, on this next straight. He gets a really good exit out of there, but the Williams cars were on a bit of a weird strategy, but running hard tyres for George Russell here. A truck you probably don't need to run the hard tyres for. But anyway, that's what they're doing. Maybe they're trying to one-stop. They've just got no pace at all. You can see Hubert up ahead by himself, but we get past Russell, and now we're going to push on this lap. As a few cars in the pit lane there, Sainz and Perez in the pit lane as we come through turn 1. We've got the long route now. You can see even though we passed them while they're in the pit lane, they come out ahead of us by the time we get to the merge point, and Perez comes out right behind our teammate Hubert. So Perez on the soft tyre, as we're on the medium tyre. So different strategies here from the Racing Point team compared to us. As now we, on the same lap, we roll right behind our teammate Hubert, who's now holding us up here. But he will let us through here on this next straight. When I say let us through, we should be able to overtake him here as we open the DRS. I thought this was going to be a pointless DRS zone, but it obviously gives you enough speed. We're going to go deep on the brakes. He hasn't made it easy. He's defended to the inside as we go right. And as Ricciardo comes out of the pit lane, so he almost got the undercut on Daniel Ricciardo. We weren't able to get it on Sainz or Perez, who are a lot further up the road, especially Carlos Sainz. He got a great little run there. As now lap 12 has arrived, and Ricciardo is on the hard tyre, and we need to dispatch of him quickly, as we still need to make our second stop, and he must be going to the end of the Grand Prix, so he's going to defend to the inside here. We're not close enough to make a move into the turn 11, and so we now come through. This is turn 12, this little left-hander here on the run to 13, but our exit very poor. Next time around, lap 13 in this Grand Prix, once again behind Daniel Ricciardo. We just don't seem to have the straight line speed. We've got overtake mode enabled here, rich mix, as now we open the DRS. We're still burning the battery to really gain the speed on him now. We can turn it off. He's got to the inside, we go to the outside, and hopefully we can outbrake him into the hairpin as we're now on the outside. And a bit of an oversteer. Ricciardo fights back. He got a much better exit on his hard tyres, but we've still got the inside if we can outbrake him here for turn 13, as we do, and we take the position away. So into 8th place at the minute, as now coming on the straight, Ocon has arrived and the Renaults are attacking. Ocon actually gave us a little hit there trying to go up the inside of his teammate, but now we've got more yellow flags here on the back straight, and a car is slowing, as I'm not sure who it is, but we'll see that in a second. We're here on lap 14, it's Lando Norris, so disappointment for the Brit. And with 14 laps, thank you Jeff, with 14 laps to go, we're going to make a decision to come straight into the pit lane for the medium tyre. Once again, this our second set of mediums, so these are the set we used in qualifying. So they've done that quali lap, but they should be good to go for the rest of the race. So I don't want to go on the hard tyre. I think this set of mediums can get to the end. I believe they can do half the Grand Prix, so that's what we're going to do, and that should work out for us. As we now, I'm going to show you something here as we come out of the pit lane. You can see our teammate Hubert is coming past us right there, but the way the pit lane works, we're going to be ahead of him by the time we get to the merge point, and you can see that's where the safety car line is, right there, and Hubert is all the way back at turn 1, but it's saying that we've made an illegal overtake on him, even though we were in the pit lane. So this game, a little bit unsure how to deal with the Vietnam pit lane, clearly, and we got a 5-second penalty given to us, because there was no way I could drop back in that time anyway, and I didn't want to lose more ground, so that's really unfortunate. So we've got 5 seconds hanging over our heads now, but we are going to the end of the Grand Prix, as we have Ocon attacking us here into turn 1 in the Renault, and he's almost made the move stick, but we're going to be able to hold it around the outside and get the inside for turns 2, 3, but Ocon really aggressive down the inside there, and we have managed to once again hold on through turn 4 and 5, so we now open overtake mode, and Ocon's really aggressive here at the start on his fight, his tyres up, a little bit of contact there I believe, and our teammate is through, so I'm not sure what Ocon was showing, but we did have that covered off, as we're now behind Kimi Räikkönen, who is on really old tyres. Or is he on hard tyres? He's just on hard tyres that clearly haven't fired up that quickly, and we have so much more pace, and we go up the inside through the second last corner, and we move into 13th place. So we're now up behind Stroll and Gasly, who are going side by side through the hairpin, and we'll be looking to make easy work of these guys when we can. So unfortunately, through this third sector, you're going to have to really just follow, unless you can make that move into that penultimate corner. That's what you really got to set up, but you can't really make an overtake through these fast left and right handers. It's kind of just a one line kind of area until here. You can, if you're brave enough and close enough, make a move into this penultimate corner, but we're not close enough this time to Lance Stroll, as our teammate comes into the pits for, I believe, his second stop at the Grand Prix, as he went onto the soft tyre before. I guess now he'll go onto the medium for the run home. but once it's still behind Lance Stroll and Pierre Gasly here, and Gasly hasn't got the best exit out of that corner, and now Stroll and I will be lining up. This is for the battle for 9th place. Stroll gets past now with Slipstream and Gasly. We now go into Stroll, Slipstream back into Gasly's, now back into Stroll's as he's ahead and pulling us along past Gasly, and we're trying to follow Stroll. We go deep on the brakes, just about avoid his rear end there. But this time, compared to Ricciardo, we get a much better exit on our medium tyres compared to Gasly's hard tyres, as we now move it up into 9th place with 6 laps to go here, as we once again follow Lance Stroll in the battle for 8th place now, as we are on the better rubber by the looks of it. But Stroll's had a great run compared to Kvyat, but Kvyat has really held him up badly, and now we're going to go 3 wide here down into turn 6 and 7, as we have the inside line, a little bit of contact, but we make it work for us as we move ourselves into 7th place. So Danny Kvyat's poor run has really hurt Lance Stroll there, and we get ahead. So great move from us, as Valtteri Bottas is overtaking Daniel Ricciardo ahead, and Perez is also ahead of us. So not much happened in the last 6 laps. We pulled away from Lance Stroll. Sebastian Vettel, who's behind us in 7th place, is coming at us at a rate of knots. We have a lot of wear on our tyres, and I'm just getting it home to the end. The last 2 laps have been a bit of a struggle, and Vettel's coming at us, but we should be able to hold on here. You can see the wear on the tyres now. They've done half the Grand Prix plus a qualifying lap, so not ideal. And also at this point of the Grand Prix, while I was actually racing, I did forget I had the 5-second penalty. So I was like, all good, yep, I've got 7th place at the minute. We can just conserve to the end. So, you know, we'll just see how that all plays out. And anyway, so Vettel's closing the gap. He's actually fighting with Danny Kvyat there, and he's past Danny Kvyat. So into 8th place for Sebastian Vettel by the looks of it, but Kvyat's fighting ahead, but no, Vettel gets him on the exit of the corner. And I'm still a little bit worried about my tyres, but once I got to turn 13, I knew 7th place was mine, but I completely forgot about 5-second penalties. Other drivers actually did have the same penalty happen to them under those safety car conditions and stuff, but like Esteban Ocon, who's the car director behind us, who also overtook Hubert, but he was able to serve his in the race. We are unable to serve ours in the race. So yeah, hopefully that issue gets sorted by Codemasters. And anyway, it's going to be unfortunately a 12th place, but I think it is a 7th place finish. But unfortunately, it's not going to say that in the books. But you know, it is what it is.
That's it for another Grand Prix and a fantastic win for Mercedes. What do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
Well, they played the safety car to absolute perfection. There are so many factors to worry about once the race is neutralised. I mean, do you pit for fresh rubber? Do you have the space behind you? How much fuel can you save? If you answer all of those questions correctly, you'll have a good chance. And that's exactly what happened today.
Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again. Let's see what effect this result has had on the drivers' standings. After today's performance, Valtteri Bottas secures the championship lead. After an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
Lance Stroll certainly put in an impressive performance today. No doubt his team and fans are extremely proud.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. Meanwhile, good work from Racing Point this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order.
All respect to the fans' choice, they fully deserve it. But I just feel that my pick had a little more on their plate, so their ability to keep a cool head and come through for such a strong finish made the difference, at least in my opinion.
It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action. I can't wait to see what's next.
So that was the Vietnam Grand Prix here today, guys. Disappointing that it's only going to be 12th place. We're not going to get any points to show for what was a really strong weekend for us on the new track. So hopefully this is a thing of a sign of things to come for us in the future races. Obviously, the upgrades working well on the car. A little bit not the best straight line speed this weekend. I think that's just an aerodynamic thing, not an engine power thing. I was just looking here through all the penalties that got racked up, so I think that is an issue Codemasters need to look at with that Vietnam Grand Prix pit lane exit when it's under yellow flags, how to fix that, because that could really cost somebody in a league race setting or something like that in a competitive, which is something you don't want to happen. So
we may need to shut down facilities for a while to cut down our running costs.
So that's an interesting message there. If you do spend a little bit too much money, you can have your facility shut down, which is also interesting to note that you can't overspend your money and just use it all up and then reap the rewards and paying a price for it. You will pay a price for it if you do spend too much of your money. So that's good to see and good to learn about that. We're obviously fine for now. But I also noticed that you can shut down your facilities at any time. I don't know if that's like to just save some money to stop development of the car, and it's like stopping your development of the car for the year. So that could be something you do later in the year, where you shut down the facility, you stop development of the car, and maybe that translates and helps you for the next season. Not sure yet how that all works, but it'll be very interesting to see how that works. And I'm also interested to see how the winter break will all be changed in this year's form of the game. As you can see there, we're getting some new parts for the car, and we now have an invitational event. Now, in the past, these invitational events have been useless, but this year they're very useful, as we can gain $150,000 off it, plus some team acclaim. But the money is a really big incentive to just do them all. They don't take too long to do. So yeah, that's a good little thing they've added. So they're not just a throwaway feature in this year's game, as we just fixed that reliability part. And for the first time in the F1 development trees, your durability parts can fail. That never used to be an issue in the past, so now that is a factor as well, which is fair enough, because there is times that I'm sure F1 teams have durability upgrades that don't work. So that's good to see that Codemasters have added that into this year's game. Anyway guys, I hope you guys all enjoyed today's video. Please leave a like, subscribe to the channel for plenty more F1 2020 content. Next episode will be the Chinese Grand Prix. Until then, goodbye.